Right, guys, so thank you for tuning on to this video. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe and share. I just want to say something, right? 2019, end of 2019, COVID starts, okay? The craziest thing that happened in 2020 was just this thing was spreading like wildfire, right? And everyone was talking about the Chinese started in China, okay? Yeah, Wuhan lab, all right? But I'm always a skeptical, man, because I'm hearing what the Chinese were also saying. They were mentioning the US, but no one was looking at the US at that time. You know, everyone was just China. They were solely blaming China. All right, now 2021. This is over a year later. The truth is coming out. First of all, the Wuhan lab of virology was actually built by the French with French money. Basically, what these Europeans or people from Europe or of European descent like to do is, instead of doing something dodgy on their own soil, they'll take it out and put it in another country. So if anything happens, they can say it wasn't us. So they're always playing smart. Okay? First of all, this is how China became what China is today. China played smart too. Because these people, I'm just going back here, I'm trying to so that you understand how these things work. These people initially were trying to open up all these plants and factories in China. And China says, oh, we got to have access to intellectual property. And these guys thought, what the China going to do with it? But the Chinese had a plan. All right, you can come here and use our cheap labor, but believe me, we're going to get access to your intellectual property. And that's what's important. We get that, and we're going to work with it, and we're going to start creating our own. Okay? And that's what they've done. That's what they did. Now China is making everything. They even have now a space station for themselves. You know, other countries, Russia, whatever, couldn't allow them. They said, okay, stuff you. We're going to put up our own space station. And this is the attitude the Africans must have. Okay? So, France built the Wuhan lab of virology, okay, or virology, depending on your pronunciation, okay, right? So, in America, they start doing these experiments, okay, of what they called human-bat interface, more like trying to create literally Batman, okay? But they were working on virus at the virus level. You remember? Human-bat interface. But then they realized the risks of what might happen in these labs. So instead of putting it in Michigan, New York, Vegas, or a place like that, because they got to protect their own people, you know where they take it? They take it to China. The biggest guy in virology right now in America is Fauci, Dr. Anthony Fauci. These are things from his own mouth. There's emails to even prove this. There's videos of him saying this. You know, you don't put that thing in America. You know what you do? You take it to China. Because you can trust the scientists there. And when it got to China, first of all, remember, when France built that laboratory, China took over. So they kicked the French out. Thank you for the lab, but hey, get the hell out. They took over and started doing all sorts of experiments there as well. Okay? So when they had this lab interface thing happening in America, they took it to China because, you know, the scientists were already working on maybe something similar, you know. And American taxpayers was used to sponsor these experiments. Okay? The saddest thing that happened is that the experiments from the Wuhan lab ended up in America as a virus and killed 500,000 people. I guess the roosters went back. Okay? Tax-funded experiments ends up creating a virus that went back to the people that funded it and killed 500,000 people. Let no one tell you about human interaction with animals. You know where I'm going with this? Because the thing they like to say about AIDS is that, oh, you were somewhere in West Africa, people interacting with animals. And you know what I mean? You know exactly what they say. All lies. All lies. It's these people doing stupid experiments that they don't even need to, but because they want to find a way to destroy the world, or they live in such fear. You know, it's like someone who lives in fear. They go and put all these burglar bars on the doors and, you know, all sorts of things. It's like that. Because you know you have a messed up mind. You know what you do. So you're trying to protect. You're thinking another person will end up doing this. There's a lot of weird experiments going on in these countries. And this is why Africans, we have to be beware. We have to be aware of this. And we should also start these experiments about how we can protect ourselves. I personally think if we had a functional UN, African Union, and for me, I think it should be Greater African Union, which only uses countries that are black. Forget about the North. It's a bunch of invaders. You know, we don't want those people listening to what we're talking about, because then they're just going to go tell America and whatever who gives them a few $1 billion to keep us down. They're part of the whole team. We shouldn't even be allowing them. That's why we should have greater. Remember what I'm not saying sub-Saharan, because that's what they like to use. Sub-Africa, sub this, sub anything that's sub means it's below the normal standard. You know what I mean? And that's why they try to tell you sub-Saharan, but you know exactly what they mean. I'm not saying that. I'm saying Greater Africa. Okay? This is what we should be doing. If we had a Greater Africa, we should have these weapons. We should also have weapons of mass destruction, so we protect ourselves. Look at North Korea. No one messes with North Korea because they got missiles, atomic missiles. We should have the same thing as well, to protect ourselves. Because Africans, since the beginning of time, people come to Africa. We don't go and attack people outside of Africa. Very rarely have we done that in history. Most of the time, it's only when people called us for help. Like Tahaka, when the king of Israel called him to go and help them out. Okay? That's the only time people left Africa to go but most of the time, people want to come to Africa because it's paradise. You know, the Nubians, the Sudanese today, the Kushites today, protected themselves from a Roman invasion. It's the Romans coming into Africa. Okay? Not us going into Europe. Because we don't need to. How are you going to leave paradise to go to somewhere where it's cold? So, basically, the China virus was American-made. Okay? I'm not making these things up. If you're in America, you know exactly what's happening. You know. So, we have to be very careful here, guys. We have to be very, very careful. Especially in Africa, we need to start thinking of how we protect ourselves. Because everyone outside of the continent is trying to get to Africa even today for our resources. Not just natural resources, but human resources too. Because we have the youngest population. Let's take advantage of what we have and create something to protect ourselves. Because these guys are doing some weird experiments. And they're far, far ahead. They know more about a lot of things, more than we think they know. Okay? So this coronavirus, the news is, it was made in America. Just like rap. If you know what I mean. You know, American made. Okay? Came out of China, but was American made and American funded in China. Okay? Thank you guys. Thank you for watching my video. Please subscribe and share this video. Goodbye.